Thanks for watching my revision of my American history notes. I'm going over things I want to do differently, dig deeper into, maybe change, and hope you'll click like if you do watch this. Speaking of revival, picking up where I left off last time, with the established state-funded churches now gone, all Christian denominations practice what the old Puritans would have called experimental religion, with many denominations gathered in associations. What happened next was the Great Revival of 1800, which was furthered by such Christian preachers as Methodist John McGee, Presbyterian James McGready, and a preacher called Father Rice, not meant in the Catholic sense, and in Baptist John Taylor in Kentucky. As Taylor and Richard Kay began preaching in Kentucky, the revival spread throughout the South and into New England. Thousands were added to these churches in believers' baptism, and highly emotionally charged meetings took place. In places where dead orthodoxy and dry formalism had been the norm, there was a renewed joy in worship. And what is much more important, individual people's lives were changed from sin to attempting to live in a way that would be pleasing to God. With drunkenness a growing national problem, as some Americans would start their day off with rum and finish it with another alcoholic drink, the need to renew God's people to seek after his righteousness was important. This revival hit different states at different times as it moved around the country. People have been turned off by the religious excesses of those who wish to force you to follow God's precepts by law rather than by the prompting of the Holy Spirit and the sanctification promised by Jesus when you immerse yourself in his word, were being brought into churches in droves. Now, the first vice president of the country became the second president as John Adams was sworn in on March 4th, 1797. As vice president, he was known to have a love for the pomp and circumstance of the kings of Europe and was often labeled by his enemies as a monarchist. As president, he brought in Washington's cabinet to serve in his administration, which was a mistake, as they secretly were going to Alexander Hamilton for advice until after Washington's death, when he felt free to make a change. Adams' entire administration was dominated by trouble in Europe as the nations of Europe fought with Napoleon and the growing French Empire. France, our ally, wanted us to join in the war against Great Britain. They refused to recognize any diplomat sent to them and threatened to hang any Americans they found on British ships they captured. In 1798, he received word that agents of the French government, simply known as X, Y, and Z, had demanded a bribe before the American diplomats would be received by Foreign Minister Talleyrand. So we're going to stop here because I want to go over that next, and then the events around that and just after that. So I hope that you get something out of this and feel free to make comments. If you disagree with me, just put your citation in there so I can learn from what you've learned. All right. Thank you very much.